Welcome to NIDA's podcast for May. With me this month are Fiona Reilly, Head of Costume at NIDA, and Kwok, the third year costume student. This month we're talking about Open Day and the costume course in particular. And Anne's going to tell us a little bit about her secondment on Mao's Last Dancer. So first to you, Fiona, tell me, you were a student here, what's Open Day like?
Open Day, well, we certainly didn't have them in my day, but Open Day is a wonderful day. It's when NIDA opens its doors to the public and says, no more mystique, this is what we do, have a wonderful day, find out what happens at NIDA. But also you have the opportunity, if you are interested in coming here and studying, it demystifies NIDA a bit. You can talk to students, you can talk to graduates, you can talk to staff, just find out where you perhaps might fit in the future of NIDA.
So there'll be acting courses, obvious workshops on the day. But what about the costume course?
The costume course, we've dreamt up something rather special. We have two main activities. Throughout the day, our students will be showing their work, the costume students. But also, we have the Great Impro Challenge. The costume department has challenged the prop department to a challenge. What we have is we will decide on the morning a theme. It will be announced. We will have a team of costume students, a team of prop students. They will each have a huge pile of junk in front of them. The costume students will have bits of fabric, old clothes, that sort of thing. The prop students will have bits of timber and sticks and what have you. And within the course of a couple of hours, they will have to create an instant character, a creature from these materials. They'll have to do it before your very eyes. So we kind of think that the costume department's got a bit of an edge, but I think the props think otherwise.
Yeah, the props have got a different idea.
So you will be able to actually see these things, these creatures being created, but you'll also be able to watch the creativity of the students, but also the wonderful techniques that they learn here.
And what about getting involved? Is there any way for visitors on the day to get involved with the costume students?
Well, they certainly be able to talk to them about their work and see demonstrations of it. And the other way that they will be able to get slightly involved is that in August we're having a demonstration, an exhibition of bridal wear. NIDA has a wonderful archives where we have original clothing. We've put together an exhibition of the work of the costume students and also some of the historical costume that we have in our archives that we use for teaching. And at the moment we're calling it From Bustles to Bridezilla. It goes from 1880 to 1980. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a little sneak preview of some of the archive costumes and also our three third-year costume students who have made the most beautiful bustle bridal and bridesmaid dresses from the 1880s, and Anne is one of those students, will be demonstrating, helped by the public, actually putting on those clothing. Because there's about 6 layers of clothing that you have to put on to become a bride of the 1880s. So that'll be something I think will be rather wonderful to watch.
Well, that's probably a great point to throw open to you, Anne. You've just been on your secondment for the costume course, which is a very important part of the course, going out into the industry and making networks and getting an idea of what it really feels like to be in the industry. What was it like?
I prepared the costumes for the next day and I maintained them and I also took a record of them, what happened like previous days, so just to look for continuity issues, anything, they just look in the folder.
So if they ended up messy or if they... fantastic.
So for instance, like if the badge was on the left-hand side or right-hand side, they have to keep that for the next scene.
And you were working with a wonderful director, Academy Award nominated director, Bruce Beresford.
Yes,
that must have been extraordinary.
It was. He was amazing, and same with the other people also. Anna Borghese, the costume designer.
She's a NIDA graduate, isn't she?
Yes, she is. She was amazing to work with. She had so much energy. She ran on like coffee and everything, but she was always non-stop.
So what do you want to do after you finish here at NIDA? Is that the kind of thing you're looking for, to do costume and film?
Yes, definitely. I want to work in film or TV. in either in pre-production or in the shooting time. Yeah.
Anne's a very fine costume maker. In this particular role, she was doing what we call costume standby, which is after the costumes are already made, but she has great potential to be a costume maker. Does very fine period costumes in particular.
So maybe that's a great point to ask you, Fiona. I mean, what is the hierarchy, if you like, within the costume world? I mean, what are the range of jobs available? I mean, really, all we know is the person who makes the costumes. I mean, what is this standby? And there's supervisors.
Yes.
and all these roles.
It is an extraordinary amount because, of course, you have the costume designer who actually initiates, creatively designs the costume. But from there, you have a supervisor who's a person who's in charge not only of the personnel, but they do the budgeting, they do the planning, they hire the people. You have got cutters who are at the creative top of the hierarchy, and I think that's something that Anne has a potential to be a very good cutter. And they're the ones who actually form the costumes, cut the costumes, draft the patterns, drape them. And then there are people who are makers, who are the machinists, the people who make them up. And there are all sorts of ancillary jobs as well. For example, the standby that Anne was talking about is exclusive to film and television. And they're the people who are actually on set. They don't traditionally make the costumes, but they take the costumes once they are made. And they're principally there to look after the actors in costume, as Anne was saying, continuity. It's an extraordinary job because you have to be able to work with actors and have the personality to work with actors, but also to be technically on the ball in case something does happen and Madame Mao rips her suit in the middle of a scene and you have to quickly mend it. But there's also lots of other areas. There's the milliners, the people who make the headwear. There are buyers, the people who actually go out and buy. Particularly films and big TV programs have people who exclusively buy. One of our graduates recently, So You Think You Can Dance Australia, she was a graduate of two years ago, and she was a buyer and a stylist on that program. So she was running around getting the costumes. Another of our graduates was then cutting and altering and making the costumes for that program. So there's an awful lot of roles that are to do with it. There's also the destroyers of costumes. There are people called finishers, and these are the people who either dye and prepare fabrics, because we often don't find the colours that we want, so we dye fabrics. But also, for example, I'm sure that on the film that Anne was on, those peasants in the commune, their costumes might have been new at first, but they had to look very old. So these are people who have particular skills to make something that's brand new look ancient. Did you have something like that?
Yeah, absolutely. There was one last scene in the commune where Lee comes back with his wife, and we see everyone at the commune, and we just have to break them down, look more natural, as if it's been worn for years and years and years.
So what kind of thing did you have to do?
Oh, we even on set, we even had to keep rubbing costume dirt into them.
Oh,
yeah.
Fake dirt?
Yes, fake dirt, like in the knees and just in like the shoulders and sleeves and everything like that, just to make them look like they've been wearing it for years, because in the commune they don't go shopping every day.
They don't have any buyers in the commune.
No.
All right, well, I guess that leaves us to say come to Open Day and experience some of these things and look forward. I look forward to seeing the outcome of the challenge.
Challenge, we shall see. But do come up and say hello to us. We'll be there and the students will be there. You're very, very, very welcome.
From what I hear, I think the costume might just have the finishing line in sight.
We think so.
Thanks a lot.